Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're back in Snapshot 24W33A, and a new snapshot cycle is here. Now the first thing I want to cover is some experimental toggles, because there are 3 new experimental toggles, or 2 and then they've updated one. Now how you get the experimental toggles is by creating a new world, and you have experiments right here. So the new ones are minecart improvements, and this is for experiments where they're making improvements to minecarts. And you've also got redstone experiments, and this is for where they will make improvements to redstone. Now, both of these are not set for a future update. It's just where they are testing features, and some things will be added, some things won't be added. And the bundle experiment has been updated to match the bundles they showed in Minecraft Monthly, I think last month. So I want to cover the bundle first. Now the first thing I'm going to do is give myself the recipe for it, so we can see how you craft this thing. And the recipe for the bundle is 1 string and 1 leather. That's a lot cheaper than it used to be, and I'm happy with that recipe. It was rabbit hide in these slots, as well as rabbit hide here, and then 2 string. So it was way more expensive. This is definitely easy to get early game. So the bundle, you can see, has had a bit of an update. Can hold a mixed stack of items. It can still only hold 64 max items, so you cannot put over that in it. So now let's quickly just click items on. How do we put items in this now? Has that changed? Or no, okay, you have to left click. So how this works now is you can have a total of 64 items. But the first 8 items you put inside, so that would be 8 items. Let's put all of these in. You can now see, we can see all 8 items. And we can get any item out. By clicking on the bundle, this is right click, you can get the first item out. But say we want to get the crafting tables out. Before, you would have to keep clicking until the crafting tables come out. Now that is no longer the case. And how you get the item out now is you just click the number on your keyboard. So the crafting table is number 8. So you have to click the number. So let's say we click number 5. That has now selected the birch planks. You don't need to hold it. You just need to click it. And now if you then right click, it will pull the birch slab out, or whatever item is within that slot, as it means you can get any item out at any point. As soon as you go off the bundle though, you do see that you then need to reselect the slot you want. Now let me quickly just show you what happens if you put more than 8 items, as you can do that. So you can see that I've now put some gold, and also for some weird reason there is 2 missing slots. I'm guessing that's because it goes for the most recent 8. But you can see that it says +6. So you have to basically work it with the 8 items. So Minecraft has mentioned on the patch notes, they recommend making more than 1 bundle for every 8 items you want to put into it. But once again, that's just a tip they've given. That is not something you really need to do. As if I quickly just show you, we can throw 64 items into this bundle, and that will update the bar to say full. One thing I don't like about this current bundle change is that bar. I much preferred it when it had the numbers for, so it said 0 out of 64 or 32 out of 64. I think that was way easier to understand than a random bar that just goes up and down. Now let's cover some changes to redstone, and this is once again with the redstone experimental toggle enabled. So they've improved performance in some ways, but they've also made redstone a little bit less random. So what I mean by this is if you have 2 pistons like so, and then you had redstone dust connecting them, before it would be random on what one got powered, because the signal would go to both of them at the same time. And that is still the case if you power it from the middle. Either one of them could be activated. But if we was to move the lever up to the left hand side, the left one will always be powered. If we move it to the right hand side, the right one will always be powered first. And I think the way this works is it just checks for the amount of power going into the block on what one it should activate. Now I don't think this will break any redstone farms. It could break a few, but I don't think it will really break that many. I'm personally a fan of this because it removes that randomness. And you can still have the randomness if you want, just from powering it from an equal length. You can see if I spam it from the middle, either one of them is powering, and that is because there is the same amount of redstone going to either side. Now I really wanted to jump to the patch notes to cover a little bit more about this redstone, because there's so much on it, as they have given a lot of details. So the way the redstone works is it works in order. So when a line is turned on, the wire closer to the power source will cause the block updates first. And it's also the same when it's turned off. The wires closer to where the power source was will cause the block updates first. The order in which blocks around the wire update is based on the direction the wire receives an update from, and there is currently these different types of orientation. Now let's cover the minecart changes. These changes are made to make minecart travel more viable late game. As Minecraft have specified, they are aware that elytras and things like that are the better way to go. So they're currently making improvements to make minecarts a little bit more reliable. So first changes, they will now apparently have a slope when falling, which you can see it does do right there. That's really cool. It's only visual, I think, but it's really cool that it does that. Before, in the older versions, the minecart would just stay looking like how it does now. But now it does actually slope downwards to kind of visualize that it's going at that angle. So there is a new accessibility option, and this is if the player's view should rotate with a turning minecart, only available in worlds with minecart experimental toggle enabled. Now this is by default off. So here we go. I have a rail that has 2 turns, and I currently have it on. So I've currently not got my hand on my keyboard, and that is exactly what it does. You can see that my screen will turn with the minecart. Once again, I'm going to take my hands off the keyboard, and I'm not touching it, and that is exactly what happens. So if we now turn this off again, I will show you what happens with the accessibility option off. So if I once again jump in the minecart, I'm going to take my hands off the keyboard now. You can see that I'm always facing this way, whereas when it's on, I turn to face this way because the minecart turns. Now there is a new game rule within this experimental as well, and this is the minecart max speed. Now the default for this is set to 8. This can be changed to anything up to 1000. Having the game rule at 1000 doesn't guarantee that a minecart will go at that speed. Because once again, you need to build up speed, and there are also some other values that are taken into account, like the air. So there we go, I've just placed some powered rails throughout it. Let's now just place a block there, jump in the powered rail, and okay, I went absolutely flying, and the minecart does also tilt. So we've done that in a few seconds. I now want to set it back to 8 to see like the difference. So let's now set that back to 8, and let's now jump back in the minecart. Yeah, there definitely is a difference between 8 and 1000. You can see, and also the velocity we got. When we went to 8, we landed right there. When we went to 1000, we landed all the way over there. Another change that is mentioned, minecarts can now be placed next to each other without colliding. And that is the case, which I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing. This is going to break some systems, but it's also a good thing for things like furnace arrays. You can now have minecarts and they won't collide, slow each other down or anything. And also dispensers that place minecarts will no longer place minecarts in each other. So if we placed 2 dispensers in there, or 2 minecarts in there, placed one, and placed a second one, it will not place another one down until this one is moved. So let's quickly just place that one in there again, move this one out the way, and you can see it now does place another one. And minecarts have also been made a bit more consistent when picking up mobs while traveling along a rail. So if I was to put a creeper right there, and then I was to pick up this minecart and push it, it will now more consistently pick up that creeper. So that is all of the experimental changes inside this snapshot for the 3 new experimental toggles. Now let's cover some of the changes. Now for these current changes I'm going to cover, you do not need any experimental toggles on. These will be enabled as soon as you download the snapshot. So the first change is the suspicious stews will now have their recipes shown in the creative tab. You can see that we can now see all the recipes with each flower. Now it doesn't tell you what the effect does, so you can now basically see every single flower type that can be used. Banner patterns have also been updated to now have the banner pattern shown on the icon. This does also mean that the texture has also been updated and the name. They are now called the banner pattern name and then banner pattern. Smithing templates have also been updated. Smithing templates now are called the name of the smithing template. So as you can see, Sentry is now called Sentry Armor Trim, and then the tooltip now says smithing template. Minecraft have also made a change to wolves. This is a parity with Bedrock Edition. They can now be fed any type of fish in the game. This is things like cod, pufferfish, also salmon. So as you can see, clicking these foods on them, it gives them the heart effect. It will also heal them if they're tamed. Now there is a new death message for when you die to a mace smash attack. Yes, mace smash. So if I do this, the death message was blank was smashed by blank. And obviously these blanks will fill in by the player's name or the entity's name. So for example, in this case, it would have said Belgie was smashed by Belgie, because I killed myself. Minecraft have updated bats once again. Bats will now be able to spawn at any Y level as long as it is dark enough. Before, they would only spawn below sea level. And this is baby variants of the 3 following mobs. Dolphins. You can now find baby dolphins. They cannot be bred, you can only find them naturally. That is what a baby dolphin looks like. You can also find baby squids. That is what a baby squid looks like. And you can also find baby glow squids. Now let me quickly just jump down into water to show you these. So here is a baby glow squid, here is a baby squid, and then here is a baby dolphin. They have the same AI, it is just a smaller variant. Now Minecraft have also updated cods and salmons, and all they have done here is that they can now have different sizes like Bedrock Edition. So you can see that is an absolutely massive salmon, where that one is a bit smaller. These different sizes can spawn naturally in the world, as you can see by this cluster. Now, I thought it was also applied to cods, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. It seems like currently it's exclusive to the salmon. So now let's have a look at the trial chambers to see if we can find the new room. So the new room just spawns off of the hallways like these corridors. So there's a chance just to find it, and I don't think we've found it right here. Although that's new. I don't think that pointed dripstone trap was there before, so if you now jump down the middle, which I always done, you'll now basically fall a lot further onto dripstone. I like that. They've basically made it a bit more of a threat, but it's not at the bottom of every corridor by the looks of it. So I'm currently just placing down all the encounters so we can have a look at them, and this is what they look like. Now obviously these will be replaced with certain things. This is a vault. This one right here is a spawner. And they just look to be little tiny rooms with a bit more in them. And there's 5 different versions of these. This is another one, which once again has some vaults and spawners. This one right here is a breeze spawner. And this one right here is a normal vault. This is the 3rd one, which seems to be just a tower. This down here is a spawner. If we go up a little bit more, this is once again another spawner. The 4th one is this, which once again looks to be another tower-like structure. And this one has a lot of pointed dripstone in the bottom of it. That's interesting. And there's nothing else down here. And then up here, there seems to be some traps, which once again is pretty cool. And there is a spawner right here, which is slow ranged. And then the final version, which is version number 5, which seems to be just a massive room. These on the floor are decorated pots. So these will be just the pots. Once again, these are dispenser traps. And if we head up here, we have a breeze spawner and then a reward, which is a vault. Now, I quickly just want to cover a few things on the patch notes. There are a lot of technical changes. This is for resource packs and data packs. The main things that I'm going to cover: shearing for sheep, mushrooms, and snow columns are now controlled by loot tables. Goat horns can now be data driven, which is cool, and I will have a video later in the week covering how you can do that. There's a lot about data packs, and there's also a lot about resource packs. There are also over 200 bug fixes, which I'm not going to cover as well. Now, Minecraft have also updated a lot of rarities inside this snapshot, which I'm not going to cover too much. The rarity is just the colour of the name, but here is how the rarity is basically calculated. It's the chance of finding in loot tables, including mob drops, the amount of travelling required, the difficulty of the obstacle, which must be the outcome to obtaining it, or the possible amount of that item or block which exists in a world. Also, if an item has like an epic rarity item in its crafting recipe, the other item will be epic. So for example, the mace requires the heavy core. Heavy core is epic, so that means the mace is epic. So some of them you can see right here. Common is End Crystal Golden Apple. Uncommon is the Sniffer Egg, Chainmail Armor, some music discs, some all pottery shards, goat horns. You've also got Ominous Banner and Ominous Bottles. The rare is Golden Apples and Tridents, Nether Stars, some more armor trims with a skeleton skulls, And then you have the epic, which is Elytra, Dragon Head, and Silence Armor trim. One other thing, breezes no longer have a minimum distance required to attack a target, so they can attack you if they're right in your face. But anyway, that is it for this video. That is the majority of the stuff in this snapshot. There is so much more that I didn't cover, but I've covered the main features. Once again, the patch notes will be linked in the description if you do want to check them out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!